Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Teresa. I do videos on whatever I want because I don't like putting myself in a box. You guys are gonna you guys are just gonna have to deal with the messy hair. I don't know what is going on right now, but I'm sitting at a weird angle because the sunlight is literally at the perfect spot to be in my face right now. And so we're just going to work with it right now. So, if you guys have been keeping up with my journey, you know that I have been going through a neurological evaluation process to get my learning disability officially diagnosed. To catch you all up, I have been diagnosed with a learning disability ever since first grade, and that has only been diagnosed through the school system. And so this has made it really, really hard to get any sort of benefits through the government. And here in the United States, in certain states, you can get what is called an ABLE account, which that is a savings account that can be used for things such as transportation, food, medical bills, down payment on a house, those types of things. And so to do anything like that, to get any other disability benefits, it has to be medically diagnosed. And things like a learning disability is only diagnosed through school. So I hope that makes sense. And this is why I'm advocating for myself to get this diagnosed medically. I grew up in the early 2000s where um, school and health were very much kept separate, where nowadays you go into a doctor's office, I feel like, with kids, and it's very much intertwined. Like, a doctor will ask, like, how are they doing in school, or a parent is more likely to bring up something that's happening to the child that's related to school. My parents, my mom specifically, because she was the one obviously dealing with the kids, I shouldn't say obviously, but my parents played very traditional roles within their marriage and within the family. And so my mom very much kept it to where, like, school is school, health is health, and it didn't really intertwine that much. Yes, because of my rare medical condition, she did make the school aware of certain things. But other than that, like, school is school, medical is medical. You get the point. So I did the first step on Friday, which I didn't realize it was the first step. I thought I was going to actually be like testing that day. However, I met with a psychiatrist, physician assistant, and we just went over the paperwork that I had done, which really consists of an anxiety assessment, and they forgot to send me the ADHD assessment. So we did the ADHD assessment together and we talked through all of that. Now, these things are just that, they're assessments, they're not really supposed to diagnose. However, she did diagnose the anxiety portion because her specialties are in anxiety and ADHD. I'll get to the ADHD part separately, but let's talk about the anxiety part. So, the anxiety part was really interesting. Well, not that interesting. I thought I was going to end up being diagnosed with like generalized anxiety, but I answered them really interesting according to her. And I said a lot of my anxiety is due to the fact that I have to drive clients around, and part of my disability is that it really creates directional like challenges for me. Yes, for me, I do know right from left, and I didn't really struggle with that growing up. A lot of people with dyscalculia, which is my learning disability, which is a math learning disability do struggle with right and left. However, I think this is a little funny, to be honest, because I know a lot of people who don't have dyscalculia who do also struggle with right and left as adults. Um, and that's completely fine and normal. But I do think it's a little funny how like struggling with right and left is just very categorized to be a dyscalculic characteristic. And so, yeah, but I explained how I'm very like directionally challenged. I lived in my hometown up until till literally the end of 2024, and I could not tell you how to like find anything in that town. I actually have a Reddit pulled up, and it's literally titled "Let's talk about some of the lesser known problems with dyscalculia." And then so many of these comments, you guys, are for me, it's directions. I cannot go to the city alone. I'd get lost super easily. I'm so dependent on my GPS to get me anywhere. This is the person who wrote it, and this was 2 years ago. I remember sitting in the back of the car when I was young, tasked with the responsibility of reading the map as GPS wasn't invented at all at the time. It was utter chaos. I literally tried to figure out the bus system here just because I knew going into my job there was a possibility of helping clients like figure out the bus system, and I looked at that map and I was like, "Oh hell no. I'm not going to be able to figure that out." Um it's way too confusing, especially with how the city is like broken up and just like how the map is. Like there is no way on God's good green earth that I can figure that out. Thankfully, I have not had a client um, ask for that. But yeah, a lot of people say literally like directions, even just like walking around, people get like so confused. I literally got confused last week because I went to my first Pride parade and I went into a parking lot, well, parking garage. And I know I've only been in one parking garage before, but it was for my dermatologist. But this one I hadn't been in ever. And I literally didn't know like where to walk out of, or like where to walk into, I guess, because I was walking like back to the parking garage. I only knew where to walk out of because of the family I was walking with. And so, yeah, I couldn't find the elevator. I knew there were elevators, but the one I found apparently was only going down. I didn't know if there was another elevator that went up or whatever. It was so confusing. Um, but directions is just like a huge thing. So this one person I think laid it out perfectly. They're like north, south, east, west, and direction orientations. That's exactly what it is, you guys. That's what I'm talking about. Um, I hate, oh my God, on my GPS when I'm in a parking lot, generally like a Walmart here, because of multiple Walmarts, and it just says continue to the route. And I can't like orientate, if that's a word, like where exactly I'm supposed to be going to get to the route that it wants me to go to. I hate that. I hate the fact too on my GPS it does not tell me what lane I need to be in, because if it's really effing busy and I can't switch lanes, I hate that, and then that just makes my anxiety go up. So anywho, moral of this is I ended up being diagnosed with general anxiety. Not general anxiety, situation anxiety. My bad. I'm getting too heated about this, about this directional thing. And so thankfully she said that I do not need any kind of medication with it. And I was so happy about that because I know just from my friends who have been on those kind of medications, um, that one of the side effects is weight gain. And I will be honest with you guys, I have been eating trash lately. Not literally, but like just been eating like trash lately, a lot of fast food. I really need to learn how to delete my DoorDash because that has been a huge, huge problem for me. I think I'm going to do some research today, but I looked it up once and it looks really complicated. But I need to learn how to delete my DoorDash account because that's what's getting me into trouble the most, um, health wise and honestly, like financially wise. And so, yeah, so that was the anxiety portion. Then with the ADHD portion, this is actually where it does get interesting because um, this, just hang in here with me. So with the ADHD portion, she said that there are some tendencies of inattentive ADHD. So we have hyperactive ADHD, which you generally see in kids of like bouncing off the walls, right? And then you have inattentive ADHD, which this kind of ADHD is actually very, very common in women and girls and often goes undiagnosed. And so when they retested me in 2016, when I was still in school, they came back to me and they said, "Oh, she just doesn't pay attention in class." And I was like, WTF. Um, every teacher said in the IEP she pays attention in class. So what do you mean? However, then she said at this assessment that there are tendencies of inattentive ADHD. However, I don't really think you have ADHD. And I was like, okay. She explained how the score has to, like, you have to get four or more, like, you have to score four or more, like, higher, four or higher on the assessment. And I guess I didn't do that, which is really curious to me because I definitely was saying, like, oh, yes, I do this often. I do this fairly often, whatever, on every single one of the questions. So interesting. Um, so yes, at the end she was like, "There's nothing going off to me like bells and whistles that are like, oh yeah, you have ADHD, but I'm gonna put the referral in to obviously get you tested for the learning disability, and then see if anything else is being masked for the ADHD." And I was like, okay, cool. The other thing that came out of the visit on Friday, I almost said Thursday, but on Friday was that she is going to put a referral in for therapy, which was the biggest thing that I did want to come out of during this whole process was to get back into therapy. Um, literally, she wanted to get a whole picture of like me from the beginning to like up to this point in life. And I literally just started talking about my adoption trauma and how I was, trigger warning, emotionally abused as a kid. And she was like, "Do you want a referral for therapy?" And I was like, "Yeah, I wanted it like yesterday." And so that's what came out of that. And so I messaged my doctor afterwards, told her like what all went on in the session. Excuse me. Because even though I did sign a ROI, I don't really trust anybody other than my primary doctor to actually communicate well with other people. And so my doctor was very, very proud of me for like exploring avenues of therapy and stuff because for some really odd reason, we've known each other for this long, 3.5 years, and have not even talked about mental health and whatever. And so, yeah. And this is when I'm just so grateful to have the doctor that I have. It's so sad because since moving here, a lot of people have spoken to me about how they have had really shitty female doctors. And here I am with an amazing female doctor. who is consistently putting me first, um, is on top of her shit and communicating effectively and just doing everything in her power to like get it done. And I know like her and I have talked about it. It's like her personality and stuff, like, which is amazing. And I feel bad for everybody who does not have a doctor like her. Not that I want everybody to like go to my doctor, please, for the love of God, no. But I want everybody to have a doctor who has like characteristics, I guess, of her, if that makes sense. Um, because she really is just the best of the best, and in my opinion, like the cream of the crop when it comes to doctors. Um, and it's so interesting because if I'm ever like working and I'm with a client and there's a really good female doctor, I had this the other week. I will like look at, if I'm with a coworker, I'll look at the coworker and I'll look at the client. I'm like, that is how a doctor should be, in my opinion. And I'll go specifically, that is how a female doctor should be, in my opinion. And my coworker then was like, how do we clone her to make her a primary doctor? And so it's like, you guys, there are good female doctors out there. You just have to like find them and realize like it's okay to break up with whoever your current doctor is, to go and find like a really good doctor. So, yeah. Um that's that. The next step, words are so hard today. The next step is to do the actual testing for the dyscalculia. It will be longer. And so I'm going to do that. Hopefully, they will call this a week coming up. And I don't know if this is true for like every place in the United States or not, but my person was saying that they don't do it past the age of 26. When I was researching, I was a little bit worried about this because I did see that um, just like as a general thing. So, definitely, if you need to get this done, do it while you are 26 or younger. And she just explained how it was an insurance thing, which makes complete sense because here in the United States, in most states, once you turn 26, you're kicked off of your parents' insurance. I've already been kicked off of my parents' insurance because I am 26, and that's just because of the state I was living in. I don't know of the rule of once you are like here in Montana. I don't know if Montana has a different rule, like slightly different rule, um, or whatever. I don't know, but they're gonna do it anyways, even though I'm 20. I'm 26. Since I am 26, even though I pay for my own insurance and whatever. So I don't know, but that's okay because if I need help with anything financially, I'll ask my parents, and so that'll all be okay. And so, yeah, hopefully, too, I'll get a call for therapy, and I'll start going to therapy like once a week as well. And yeah, really got to hone in though on the whole like financial thing as well. But the hard thing is, I definitely don't know how much like therapy is going to be because I don't know how much my insurance is going to cover for it. However, the insurance here is a lot better than it was in North Dakota. So, with that said, that is all, you guys. I will get a video out next week, And then the week after that, my parents are actually coming up. So you guys will not get a video that week. So I hope you all have an amazing week. I hope you all have had a happy Pride Month for all those who have celebrated. Um, Really quick story, I did end up coming out to my supervisor um, on the anniversary when same sex marriage was legalized here in the United States on Thursday. I think that was our 10-year anniversary, which is crazy to think about. And so, yeah, it made me kind of realize hey, I have a lot of this trauma and deep stuff with my, adopted family, but I have so much love and support around me from people um, in my life. And, you know, in our community, like chosen family is everything. And that's pretty fucking amazing and special. And so, yeah, I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So, with all of that, I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that these videos of me talking about, getting tested and stuff, help somebody out there advocate for themselves and, you know, helps them realize, you know what, I should do this for myself as well. So, um, yeah, don't be afraid to start with your primary doctor first and go from there. All right, officially wrapping this up now. If you like this video, be sure to like it, hit subscribe down below, hit the bell for notifications. I post every single weekend, and I'll see you all later. Bye.